everybody. Welcome back to Gooner Gathering. I am your host, Gooner Lee Meadows, joined by the poshest man in sports entertainment, Posh Bertie. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I'm fine today. Again, can't really complain about anything. Not football related anyway.
That's not like you.
How are you?
I'm doing all right, mate. Not too bad. It's been a nice couple of days with bank holiday and everything like that. And I've just been chilling out with the family and stuff. I'm on daddy duty right at the moment as well. So I'm keeping eyes here, there, and everywhere. But we are here for another bit of a news stream. I'll start off with the slightly odd and different introduction that we've had today. That, of course, was the video that I spoke about on the stream the other day from the halftime game, from the game against Fulham on Saturday, where, of course, we had Bray Wyatt's music, the WWE superstar who sadly passed away on Thursday, played on the loudspeaker. Was quite a nice, touching tribute, and I thought it was quite nicely done by everybody. A lot of this has been sort of replicated all around the other places as well. Wembley Stadium, of course, at AEW on Sunday as well. So just thought it'd be a nice way for us to start off the stream today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a bit concerned about the whole copyright thing though, but I think it's all fine because obviously everything that's happened, and again, like I said before, it's not the first time Arsenal have played wrestling themes at half time, and and it's not the first time they've done it like this, because when I mentioned when Scott Hall sadly died, they played Razor Ramon's theme music in one of their games. So it's a nice touch from Arsenal.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's get into why we're here, shall we? And if, for the few people that are watching, say hello and give us a like and all that sort of jazz. You know what to do, or answer questions as we go along. We've got sort of a bit of a running order going on, so we'll start with the thumbnail story, if you like, and the rumours going around about Emil Smith Rowe. Obviously, yet to your feature in the Premier League this season after 3 games. I think he had about 3 minutes in the Community Shield. From some sources going around on social media today, including from Times Sport and from Talk Sport as well, that apparently they are Arsenal willing to sell Emil Smith Rowe after an approach potentially from Chelsea. I'm really interested to hear your views on this one.
If whoever it is, whether it's Edu or Arteta, if they get rid of Emil Smith Rowe and sell him to Chelsea, if they get rid of him full stop, considering all the competitions they have, I'm sorry, but they don't deserve to be in a job. This is and if they sell Gabriel as well,
we'll get into Gabriel in a bit. Yeah.
Then some of these decisions are testing not just testing my patience, but my patience is almost already gone if that happens. But famous last words, don't see it happening. I do think I can't see it, but it's Arsenal. I wouldn't rule it out. But yeah, it's we've got more. We've got a lot of competitions to play in. We need the squad depth. If Gabriel and ESR go, our squad is thinner than last season's, and I would be absolutely furious if that happens. And this is when I will start. You have to start questioning. Well, whoever makes the decision, whether it's Edu or Arteta, you have to question whether they deserve to be in a job or not. If they get rid of Gabriel and Emil Smith Rowe, 2 brilliant Arsenal players that I've got a lot, obviously Smith Rowe as well, got a lot to offer for. I'm a big fan of him.
Absolutely.
And if we can't go into all these competitions with a thinner squad than last season, it's ridiculous, unless they want to throw all the competitions away again. Yeah.
So, couple of things on this one, and hello to Arsenal since 1987. my thoughts on this is, I reckon Chelsea probably have made an approach on this. Why it's made its way into the media, I'm not quite sure.
They inquire about every other player, don't they?
Well, exactly. And a rumor that I have read within the last sort of an hour or something is that they have, potentially having a swap deal with our old friend and target Mudryk.
Are you actually serious?
It's going round on the rumor mill.
I don't know which, if it's like an official rumor or anything.
It's
Now,
rumor and innuendo at the moment, my friend. So.
Yeah, you may know that I wanted to get Mudryk in January. Obviously, hindsight being what it is now, but at Chelsea, even under the tutelage of Pochettino, I think I've seen enough of Mudryk to know that we can't do that. And also another Chelsea player going to Arsenal, because of course it is. Another Chelsea flop going to Arsenal.
Yeah.
So that rumour better not be true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was worth doing the stream just for that reaction alone, to be fair. But we'll see. I think a lot of it is rumour and speculation. As Posh has alluded to just a little bit ago, we are only just starting the season off. And with all the extra competitions that are coming in, particularly next month, where I think this week, actual fact, the Champions League is going to get drawn. And I knew this would provoke a reaction. Mudryk and Havertz in the same team? No.
You might. Do you know what? At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if Arteta does go. They get rid of him and replace him with Frank Lampard.
Well, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I mean,
or Graham Potter. Might as well. We're becoming Chelsea light anyway. You might as well do it. I don't want to.
No, it's not what you want to happen.
Yeah, it's what is going to happen.
No, don't be daft. Now, what I would say is the media, or the printed media and the online media and such, do like printing stories, and they do like poking the bear a little bit. Maybe there is a little bit of truth in the story. This is why I didn't jump on it last night, because I wanted to give it a little bit of a think and a bit of a, just let me my thoughts go through a little bit logically. So with the bench that we had, say, like for the last weekend's game, it's as strong as we'd ever seen an Arsenal bench for a long time. I don't see us with a few days to go in the transfer window letting people like ESR go, like Gabriel go in, for example. That's another one. Obviously, we'll get into in a little while, perhaps. But I do think they are trying to make a bit of a fuss just to stir that fan base a little bit more, because they know full well that certain people are already a little bit hot-headed.
So why are they doing that in games then? If Arteta is not starting Gabriel just to mess with the fan base.
Oh, I don't say that. I don't say that at all. I would. Maybe there is something in the tactical side of it which I don't get. I mean, look, I don't know.
No,
I'm not there. If it was me, full well I would have played Gabriel, and I'm sure a lot of our chat and a lot of people watching on demand will feel the same way. Wouldn't be surprised if we have what in my view will be a full strength back line against Man United on Sunday when we do the chat along, which we'll have Ben White at right back, we'll have Gabriel, we'll have Saliba, and probably Zinchenko playing at left back. Surely we can't go.
Well, I don't know. Tomiyasu's returned, so we've got a left back now.
Yeah, okay. Of course, it was a one-match suspension for the sending off at Palace, because it was a 2 yellow card offence. So, yes, Posh is right. Tomiyasu is available. Again, I'd rather have someone who plays natural left side in rather than anyone else. Yeah, I know he went for Kivior on Saturday against Fulham. The expression square pegs and round holes. Yeah, it's very much that at the moment. And we've spoken at length on the channel about our defensive issues and stuff like that. it will be interesting to see what else will happen on our defensive front as we go towards Friday's deadline. On that note, on talking about our defenders, within the last hour, I believe we've had a confirmed here we go, if you like, from Fabrizio Romano for the transfer of Nuno Tavares. There he is. He's already done a mock-up shirt for him. So there he is. There we go. Absolutely. Of course, Forest were in for him maybe a week or so ago. Apparently, talks did break down, but apparently this one is back on. Sounds like a possible loan deal. I don't know if there's any sort of, what's the word, with an agreement for a full-time move. I don't know at this stage.
I heard 12 million.
Oh, is it? So it's like potentially on our
similar to Raya. It's a loan to buy kind of thing.
Okay. So you think this is a good move for him and for Arsenal, or what?
I still don't know why we have an ability to not to not sell players properly. Oh, unless they're the good players like Balogun. You know, it's
the unproven in the Premier League, Florent Balogun. That's right.
20 goals in France, but anyway,
We
need 20 goals plus striker. But yeah, let's get rid of one. But I think
it's fine.
I think Tavares. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's similar to David Raya. It's a loan to buy option.
Yeah.
With 12 million, and as long as we get rid of him for that next season, then yes, that is a good move. I always said we need to get rid of the deadwood in our squad, like Tavares. Holding and Cedric as well are still there. Hopefully they won't be come deadline day, but but we've got probably anyway got one player off the books, which in Tavares that I don't really want. So
how did I teleport over here?
So yeah, good to see that Tavares is moving on.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, on the subject of players moving on, of course, Rob Holding is one you just mentioned. Another one who hasn't had a minute. That's not a surprise to any of us. I don't think he featured at all in pre-season. If he did, he'd maybe had a little kickabout before the MLS game. But talk of him having a little bit of a sunny holiday up to Spain, mate. Mallorca and Seville potentially looking at Rob going in, as well as other Premier League clubs. I did hear another exotic team, Luton Town, coming in. Hello, Jordan. Welcome. Hope you're okay, mate.
I mean, there's nothing more exotic than Luton, obviously.
Yes.
But just any. I don't care what club it is. Just get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know.
You're sick of talking about Rob Holding, aren't you?
Look, against Palace and Leeds, when he filled in for Saliba, he actually did a decent job. But for the long run, when you play him on the regular, especially against teams like Liverpool, against Man City, he is far from good enough. And that's the sad reality, Lee. I know that you are... You believe in giving all these players about 5 million chances, but Rob Holding has had his chances, and I think he needs to move on. And he's had I think he might actually be the last player of the Wenger era.
I think you're probably right on that, mate. He probably is one of the last men standing from that era. Actually, I might surprise you on this one. With Holding, I would actually think, because he hasn't got a regular first team start, and for him as a player, do you know what? I think he's got a job to do somewhere, but not in Arsenal colours.
Arsenal.
No, exactly. I do think. Like, I was impressed when Kivior came into the side playing centre half last season, and that sort of made me thinking, well, if we're Rob is a pretty, a decent defender. He's not great on the ball. It's like, do you know what I've said previously, right? Feels like a previous generation of centre half, if you like, that doesn't necessarily is not necessarily a ball player as such. I do see him as a decent defender, no more than that. But I think like the likes of Kivior around will be a better option for us to play in. Yeah. And you know, who knows what sort of minutes he'll get, but we shall see. So the time is ticking on this move. I would imagine at the stage of Holding's career, I don't think a loan deal would be appropriate. I don't think that's what the loan system is.
You know it's going to be. You know it's going to be a loan. It probably will be.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. To be honest, here's just a little bit off the cuff, kind of my viewpoint on this loan system for people. There used to be a stage where we had like people loaning players for getting people, young players, perhaps people in academies and such, to get some game time in other leagues. Much like the chap plays the right back. It's Norton Cuffy, isn't it? Who played for...
Oh, I thought you were Thomas Partey for a minute when you mentioned right back.
No. I'm actually being serious for this moment.
An actual right back.
Norton Cuffy, the English under-19 player who made his debut over the weekend against Millwall. That's why the loan system is there for, to get young players experience so they get first-team games, much like back in the day when Ashley Cole was up at Crystal Palace, etc. Things, players like that, you know? When it comes to, I don't know, players that are of a slightly older age in the loan system, it doesn't feel as right to me, if you see what I mean. I think it's like exploiting a loophole, exploiting a rule. It's just as a thought process, it seems bit odd to me, especially, you know, like a big first team player, perhaps. I don't know. Would you like to respond to that?
Yeah, I think it is. Loan moves should be used for the young players to get some experience, and that you're not going to get at your main club. But so it is a bit odd having players that have played for us before, a lot of times, and now using the loan move just to get off the list. You know, get off the list of players to in your squad for a bit of leeway. But I do think it's a bit. I mean, I would not loan Rob Holding. I try and get any type of money for him. Yeah. So I you know, and also if we keep loaning players like this, it's just going to make our list of dead wood bigger next season. Not including Kieran Tierney, obviously, because if you call Kieran Tierney dead wood, then you don't deserve any to be near the term football. But I think list of players that the manager might not want. It's just going to get bigger next season, which might make for an even bigger headache.
Yeah, I mean, the Kieran Tierney one we've discussed at length. The move has gone ahead, of course, to Sociedad. I don't think it's very likely we'll see him back again in an Arsenal shirt unless there's a change of management. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on that one. It's a move I wouldn't have done myself, but is what it is. I've kind of grown to accept it, and maybe part of my thought process at the moment, and this will be proved in the next couple of days. All right, with the likes of Tierney gone, we just mentioned Nuno Tavares. It looks like he's on the way to Forest. I wouldn't have thought we would be coming out of the back of this summer window without another fullback coming in. Obviously, our plans would have been very different had Timber not got injured. But then that's football, isn't it? Injuries can happen. It can derail all your planning, all your pre-season plans in an instant like that. So we'll see. Did hear an update, by the way, on Timber, which just a short while ago, saying he may actually return before the end of the season. The report I did read was potentially back at March sort of time. And hello, Niall Kane. Yes, I've just spoken about Nuno Tavares going to Forest. I don't think it's quite done yet, but it's more or less mocked up and sorted. So we'll see what happens with Nuno. Let's talk about maybe a sort of stepping away for transfers for a little bit, shall we? I'd like to talk a little bit more positively on young Bukayo Saka. Yeah, he still seems a young boy to me.
You were talking about Timber, first of all.
Well, I just said that potentially coming back from his ACL a little bit earlier than we heard. Perhaps coming back about March time is an update I have read. Obviously, that'll medical reports will be confirmed and stuff, but that sounds encouraging.
I mean, you can't really get a player back into it just like that after an ACL injury. So this is definitely a case of wait and see because there's still a long way to go. But all I know is that Timber's is gonna miss pretty much a big old portion of the season, which, as we're seeing, it's not very nice. But
no, of course not. And just let's hope he gets a chance, gets a full recovery, and then hopefully he picks up where he started on his Arsenal career, because it was very much an encouraging start. And so I enjoyed his work from the couple of times that I saw him play. He settled down really nicely. And
and I hope it's not one of these. I hope it's not one of these injuries where you don't turn into you're not the same player you once were.
We'll see. We've got plenty coming back into the fray with the ACL injuries on the other side of it. And the ladies seen Beth Mead being back in training today, which was encouraging to see. Absolutely. Right. So I was going to go on to Bukayo Saka, breaking an Arsenal club record over the weekend, playing his 83rd consecutive Premier League game for Arsenal, overtaking all-time great previous record holder Paul Merson. I know you will very much defend Saka every which way at all. An incredible start to his career, and an incredible character in the chap, who's obviously had a few bumps in the road along the way in terms of penalty misses and things like that. But a guy who consistently gets performances, adding goals and assists to his game very, very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Saka, and I think you see him and you just want to give him a hug. Like he's got a lovely smile and everything. Like he just seems like a very nice man, and he's younger than me as well, which makes me a bit furious. But still, I mean, how do you feel? Although you are about 1 year older than me, so it's all right.
I'm ancient compared to young Saka, my friend.
But I've always said, as much as I like to defend Saka, I always felt most points last season he needed a bit of a rest, because I was worried about him potentially getting a massive injury due to his fatigue and his constantly playing game after game after game. But it's a nice statistic to see, and being in the same club as Paul Merson that doesn't involve drugs and alcohol, that's all good.
As far as we know.
Allegedly, but
allegedly, yeah. I would have preferred it not mentioning that, but there you are.
It was a low-hanging fruit. I had to grab it.
Yeah, quite. Fair enough. But I mean, here's the thing with Bukayo as well. It very much seemed, I mean, it was revealed, wasn't it, at the back end of last season, he was carrying on playing with a bit of a knock. And I think it did show for a point. Some of his displays at the end of the season, just the last few games, weren't as to the high standard that he normally did perform at. And it is a worry if he does pick up an injury, someone coming in to replace him, isn't it? And maybe that's some. A lot of people will be talking about saying that's something we do need to get sorted out by the deadline.
And I mean, me, I think the transfer window, I would have got Moussa Diaby. We were heavily linked with him. and Moussa Diaby, I beg your pardon.
Thank you.
And I would have got him. He was heavily linked with us, but no, we decided to sign Kai Havertz instead, and he's now signed for Aston Villa, probably for a cheaper sum of money, and he's banging the goals in left, right, and centre. So, but you know, what do I know? But yeah, we do need a bit of backup for Saka. Yes, we have Reece Nelson, but is he? I do like Reece Nelson, but again, is he going to be good enough? I know
he's had his moments, hasn't he? The only thing
Yeah.
he hasn't had is that regular run of games.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's my concern.
I mean, he's had I think he picked up an award last season for most impactful substitute, I believe, in terms of goals involvement and goals scored. So the original super sub, if you will. But whether
he was a bit of a super sub last season. Case in point against Bournemouth.
Absolutely, and what a day that was! What a day that was!
So a goal in that game, because I was, at the mighty Ebbsfleet then. A goal was scored when the game didn't begin. A goal was scored when the game was finished.
There you go. So, fantastic. The ups
and
downs.
Someone went, "Oh my God, Arsenal! It's 3-2." I turned and went, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, Reece Nelson."
Yeah.
And we just looked, and we just said pretty much at the same time, "This club's going to kill me." So what a day that was.
Absolutely. Everything about the club, to be fair, from doing broadcast live, doing watch-alongs to the transfer rumours that always kill us, and the hope as well, that maybe we'll get this player, and then the time ticks over and maybe it won't happen. So we'll get back to transfers for one more story, because I did bring his name up a little while ago. The Gabriel situation keeps on popping up. It keeps on getting spoken about. And your honest gut feeling, what we're going to see with Gabriel before transfer deadline day? Will he stay, or will he go? If he stays, will there be trouble? Or if he goes, will there be double?
Well, I think there will be an almighty clash between the fans if he does leave, and I think look, deep down I do find it unlikely that he's going to leave, but you never know with Arsenal. I kind of. If we keep hearing it's an absolute nonsense story, we've got no intention of selling him and everything's fine. Okay, why is it being reported, and why is he getting dropped 3 games in a row? Are we trying to accumulate Kai Havertz this much? We have to sacrifice one of our best defenders and have to play one of our best midfielders at right back just so we can fit our £65 million wonder kid in the team. Because that's my feelings about it.
Yeah, I know.
That's why we're playing Partey at right back. We've got to try and convince ourselves to get Havertz in the team. But on Gabriel, I would think it would be the biggest mistake, probably one of Arteta's biggest mistakes ever, one of Edu's biggest mistakes ever, if he leaves, whether it's for Real Madrid or for a club in Saudi Arabia. And the clock is ticking. We're not going to have any time to get a replacement for him, to be honest.
No, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, and if that happens, then I said, if Arteta gives the green light, Smith Rowe and Gabriel to leave, I'm Arteta out again straight away. That's how bad it's getting. Yeah. Some of these decisions are absolutely ridiculous. And if Gabriel leaves, I'll be really cross. Yeah. Because you know what that means? It's a full season of Partey at right back. It's a full season of Tomiyasu and Kivior at left back. Well, because you can't really have 2 inverted fullbacks, surely.
Well, in terms of the 2 inverted fullbacks thing, no, I don't think when we deal with this inverted system, I don't think both sides will go. I don't think that's really a logical option. I know what you're saying, and I've said many a time I'm very old and I don't understand it very much, but we'll see what happens with it. Okay, I actually probably would do this. Arsenal since 1987. Because Havertz should be benched and prove to us that he deserves a start in this team. I rather feel, and I said this over the weekend, I do feel that he has been sort of put into the side, maybe a little earlier than planned, because we do tend to sort of ease some of the new signings in a little bit easier. So having the conversation with my brother, and obviously, as we all know, Vieira got Havertz's position in the side on Saturday after, I believe it was 56 minutes. Again, in credit to Arteta, he actually made the sub early, which is maybe a little bit unlike him. And Vieira did extremely well. It's taken just over a year for that significant contribution to happen for Vieira, hasn't it?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fabio Vieira is a bit of an unproven player.
Yes.
No one really heard much about him.
Yes.
When we signed him last season, so it was a case of a bit of a mystery, really. Havertz, we know what he's like. He's had 3 years at Chelsea. He scored one goal in the Champions League final, and that was it. So we know how Havertz plays. We know what he's been like in the Premier League for the past 3 seasons. But we didn't really know much about Fabio Vieira. So if you're comparing those two, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. And I'm not going to suggest for a moment that the player I'm just about to mention is, Havertz is any as good as this player. But way back in the day in 1996, I want to say, Arsenal made a really big signing, a £7.5 million signing from Inter Milan, a player that was struggling for confidence and struggling for goals from Inter Milan. His name was Dennis Bergkamp.
Right, no, sorry, I am not.
Don't you dare interrupt me. Don't you interrupt me again. Let me finish. So 7 games it took Bergkamp to hit the ball in the net against Southampton. I'm not suggesting for one moment that Havertz is anywhere up to Bergkamp. What I'm saying is I'm willing to give him a bit of a chance to settle down in the club, and let's just see how he gets on. It's not going to do him or the club any good by people just jumping on his back every 2 minutes and someone saying, "Oh, the £65 million wonder kid is he's got to be playing again."
Okay, you better not be comparing Kai Havertz and Dennis Bergkamp, because I've seen some, and I call them the usual suspects, who are really overly positive about Arsenal, tweeting stuff like this. And if you're comparing those two, it's completely delusional, because Bergkamp was a very, very good player.
Yes.
Havertz, thank you. Havertz has had 3 years at Chelsea and scored in the Champions League final. Fair play to him. But apart from that, what else has he done?
Yeah, he had a very tough time at Chelsea. I ain't going to deny that, mate.
Absolutely, but 3 years. And it's, again, under Thomas Tuchel as well. A German manager, German footballer. Tuchel's a very good manager, won the Champions League with Chelsea, actually improved them quite quickly when Frank Lampard was sacked.
Yeah.
And but Havertz wasn't one of those players that he could get a tune out of. Yeah. Apart from that one game in the Champions League final. And you cannot compare him to Dennis Bergkamp. Bergkamp is an absolute legend.
Yeah, he was. What I am doing is saying, let's just see how it plays out. I'm playing a little bit cautionary. I'm looking at a player who's suffering clearly with confidence issues as well. And no, I wasn't saying Havertz is anywhere near Bergkamp levels, because do you know what? I'm not sure there's a player on earth that is actually on that level. What I'm saying is I think it's actually worth giving him a little bit of time to see how he settles down. That is what a question and making a point on these sort of streams is quite interesting about doing. It's just provoking a bit of a reaction and poking the bear a little bit. I was only just having a little bit of fun with you.
But you're not one of those people that genuinely mean it, because if I I got a bit of restrictions on these channels. If I could say to those people what I really think, I wouldn't be invited back on the channel again. So, I'm not.
What I'm saying is, let's just hold back. As the previous comment, and I said it myself, right? That I would probably take him out of the firing line, and because he is having quite clearly a tough time at the moment. Maybe, and probably it's been thrust onto the first team, perhaps quicker than anyone would have liked. Perhaps reintroduce him, perhaps in a couple of weeks' time, potentially when the cup competition comes about, say. But we'll see what happens. We'll see on Sunday, say, and then when Sunday comes up, we can pick up the baton on this one again and come back on it and see what happens. Because that's the only way we can do it. I mean, we'll also, I'm pretty sure, on Sunday discuss the ins and outs of Eddie Nketiah playing as centre forward again. But
it's also worth noting that we've got Man United on Sunday.
Yes.
Raphael Varane has apparently picked up a bit of an injury against Nottingham Forest, but I think more likely Lindelof's going to start rather than Harold Maguire, I think. But
Harry Maguire.
Yes, or Scott McTominay. I think they'll both be probably released. They'll probably be future endeavoured come deadline day, I think.
Well, we'll see, because the Maguire to West Ham one seems to have collapsed entirely. But again, we'll keep eyes on it. I do want to have off-air talk to you about deadline day and potentially our plans for it. But before we do that, there's one other point I do want to talk about, not involving Arsenal necessarily, but it's a twofold thing. It kind of relates into something that did happen to us a couple of weeks ago. Let me just bring up this picture here, and this is Trent Alexander-Arnold tugging back at the Newcastle player. I think, isn't that? Oh no, I've forgotten the guy.
Anthony Gordon.
It's Anthony Gordon. It's the former Everton player, isn't it? Now, very, very similar circumstances to what Tomiyasu had dealt with him on the Crystal Palace game in game week 2. So Trent had got booked very, very early, I believe, for a time-wasting situation. And then this situation happened where he's pulling the attacking player back. And I wanted to talk about the consistency of referees, because what is the difference between what Trent done here and what Tomiyasu did against Crystal Palace?
First of all, I want to answer this question. Will you be doing the Champions League draw in 3 days' time? If we're going to be doing a video regarding that, I do not know. But I will keep an eye on the draw, obviously, and see who we get in our group.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think it'll be live, but we'll probably do something on it. Absolutely, we'll let you all know. Don't you worry about that. So yes, the Tomiyasu versus Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Look, I'm not going to say too much about referees being in the pockets of Liverpool, because Van Dijk got sent off, which is great for anyone in FPL with Van Dijk in their team. And I think you have to be a right idiot for that, eh?
Same idiot plays Gabriel every week, right?
Exactly. But I think, compared with what I didn't see the Liverpool Newcastle game live, but I did, to prepare for this, did see the highlights, and I'm actually going to react to it live again, just to. But I did see it, and I think it would have been more likely for Trent to get a red card compared with Tomiyasu. I do think that, but I don't want to sound like a bitter old Arsenal fan, getting all jealous. But it does feel a little bit like, there's Arsenal, they're the bad guys, and there's Liverpool, they're the good ones. So but I don't know. It's still.
I mean, even Gary Neville in commentary said the game had got too big for the referee. It was always going to be a feisty affair. It always is, them games. And it got even more feisty when Virgil van Dijk, I know I'd say it wrong, so got sent off. It was a clear red card on this one. He was denying an obvious goal scoring attempt. News coming out tonight as we come to a close on our stream. News coming out tonight that he's also been charged with improper conduct following the red card and his conduct towards the referee, the assistants, and all that sort of the people in charge of the game. How do you think this one's going to go? Because I think they're probably going to increase his match, probably a couple of match extra on the ban. I would think.
Yeah, I should think so. Again, it's quite occasional, I think, for a player to be charged over a red card. But yeah, I mean,
he was quite verbal in the referees' ear and quite insistent long after the card was given and long after the VAR had checked it as well.
Yeah, so I'm pleased they're taking action over Liverpool players over non-Arsenal players for a change, which is always nice. But I think I've not got much to add on it, to be honest. But we'll see what happens regarding if his suspension gets increased and how many games he'll be suspended for.
All right, well that's fair enough. Well, that pretty much concludes what I wanted to talk about this evening. We'll obviously be keeping an eye on what goes on in the next couple of days in terms of the Champions League draw, other business that will happen. I am going to talk to the gentleman to my right and the other members of the team about what we might actually do on transfer deadline day itself. We will see what happens, keeping an eye on our social medias before we put out something. That's probably the best way to find out. So as we leave, I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this evening. It's been a very enjoyable and it's always been fun discussing things with Posh Bertie. So Posh, would you like to tell us where they all can find you? Come on, Amy, do you want to come in?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Posh Bertie and my Instagram at Bertie Wanless. Oh my God, we've got to run in.
So Amy says hello to everybody here. You can find us, Goonerly Meads. You can find us also the team at Gooner Gallery. That's right, Amy. Thank you very much.
You taught well.
Absolutely. She knows where to find us. So, guys, we'll see you. If nothing else, we'll definitely see you for the live match on Sunday from 4:15. But keep an eye on our socials for that. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time. Let me just turn that off.